Okay, everybody. Hi, this is Hamilton from the band GENGHIS TRON, and this is my little dog, Freddie, and you are watching Loud TV.
Hello, Hamilton. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Joe?
Well, it's quite rainy actually in France, Paris, but it seems it's pretty, sunny.
Yes, sunny day in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan, wonderful.
Yes, yeah.
Go Lions.
you, you know probably more about our local sports teams than I do. Very good.
Okay, okay. So, you're back with your band, Genghis Tron,
Yes.
and you made something like a break for 10 years.
Yes, a long hiatus, much longer than we intended. But yeah.
So can you explain us this hiatus and this comeback?
Sure. So when we took a break around 2010, we had been doing, making music and touring in Genghis Tron for 5 or 6 years at that point. And, the guys in the band are my very closest friends. And we never intended the band to be a career. It was just a hobby, just to write songs that we liked. And unexpectedly, people, surprising to us, people were interested, and it turned into something that we spent all of our lives on, which was wonderful. But after a while, it got to the point where, with all the touring, especially, it started to feel a little more. It reached a point where where we saw a risk that it was going to start to feel more like a job than a passion, and so we decided to take a break for a little bit, especially just from the touring. At first, we thought the break would be 6 months, 1 year, but then the break kept getting extended, and we just were doing other things with our lives, and we knew that we always would make more music, but we were just waiting for the time until we were really ready to do it again. And so it really wasn't until about 2018 that my bandmate Michael and I. That we really felt like we were ready to start working on music again.
But you said at that time, it was 10 years ago, that you would be back.
Yes.
And you wrote it on MySpace.
Yep, I know. That shows you how long ago it was. That was the best place to share that information.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely shows how long it's been. But I knew deep down that we would come back, but I just didn't know how long it would be.
Yeah.
But now that we're back, I mean, I've missed it so much. I know we're never going to take a break like that again. I mean, we want to keep making music together. It's my favorite thing to do.
So yeah, you come back with a brilliant new album, really different from the past. Of course, there is this electro touch, I would say, but it's quite different. It's like a dream, this album. It's quite bizarre, and I've talked previously with Dillinger Escape Plan guys,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a fan of David Lynch, the director.
Oh yeah,
And maybe your music could fit, with the David Lynch movie. It's quite. You don't know where you are. It's is it a dream? Is it a nightmare? You don't know.
That's quite a nice compliment. Thank you. I'll take that. Yeah, we love. Unsurprisingly, we like David Lynch and grew up. I mean, still enjoy his stuff, but especially in our the formative artistic years. When you're late teens, early 20s, discovering music and film, and Michael and I would watch Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive, and of course Lost Highway, and he always keeps things interesting. I'm never bored watching one of his films. That's pretty I think if you can achieve that as an artist, that's pretty great.
So what was the idea of this new album? It's, of course, it's less metal,
Mm.
uh, but yeah, it's new, new touch, new taste.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was. It's interesting. We didn't really have. I mean, Michael and I we'd have some conversations about what sort of direction we thought, our songs might go in, but it wasn't really like okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to write this kind of album, and we're not going to, we're not going to have it be as metal. We want it to be more this or that. It just sort of developed naturally. It was just sort of a natural reflection of the music that Michael and I wanted to make right now. And as we wrote more and more songs, it's just sort of like, I mean, when we started writing the album, we didn't know how it would turn out, and sort of over the 2 years of writing it and recording it, it's like the album almost revealed itself to us, it just the whole world sort of unfolded. And I think we had ideas going in, just because of our tastes. We thought, okay, well, it's, we're probably not going to have a lot of screaming or like really, really crazy fast parts that are all claustrophobic and crammed together, just because that's not, I still listen to a lot of music like that, and maybe we'll make music like that again ourselves someday. But just at this point in our lives, that wasn't what interested us so much. I think we knew that we wanted it to be more repetitive and hypnotic, and for the instruments to have more space to breathe, and for the vocals to have more space to breathe, and just to create a world, sort of a sonic world to live in, especially like with headphones. Michael and I listen to and write a lot of music on headphones, and we wanted to make an album that would just like, you could put these on and close your eyes and just sort of get lost in it. And so we would have some conversations like that, sort of big picture goals, but for the most part, it sort of just came together naturally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the? It's still electronic drums.
No, we have so there still are some sampled drums in the songs, but for the first time, we actually are playing with a real live drummer now, and he's incredible. His name is Nick Yakishin, and he lives in Vancouver, Canada, and he is just an amazing drummer. And so it's been incredible working with him, and he really brought like a whole, I'd say like a different level of energy to the songs. And I think a lot of as you said, the music is not very metal anymore, but to me, it's still heavy in its own way, like not like brutal, battering you over your head kind of heavy, but it still like has a lot of like emotional weight to me. And I think the drums like are really like the heartbeat of the album, and really provide so much force and like a different organic energy to balance out all of the synthesizers, especially. And so Nick on the live drums is, that's the core of the percussion. But then on most of the songs too, we added little layers of electronic samples with the drums to sort of blend the organic and the robotic into something sort of a hybrid,
Yeah. What about the recording? Where did you record this album?
We recorded it actually the same studio where we recorded our previous two albums. It's called God City Studio, and it's in Salem, Massachusetts. And the guy who owns and operates that studio is Kurt Ballou. He's the guitar player, most known for the band Converge. Yeah. And he's just we've been working with him since 2005. So wow, over 15 years. And he's just a great person, a very talented producer and engineer. And it's cool to be working with him again, because, we've grown a lot as musicians and songwriters, and he's grown even more in his role as an engineer and producer. And he's just a great guy, and a friend of ours, really a good friend. And he also now has an assistant engineer named Zach Weeks, and I'm mentioning him because Zach doesn't get enough credit. Zach Weeks also played a big role in the engineering and mixing of the album, and he did an incredible job. So we spent 3 weeks in the studio, and we used every single hour that we could, because each song has so many tracks, and it took a lot of time to mix everything. But it was, I don't know. I love being in the studio. It's like my favorite thing to do. It's like a dream for me to be in there. It's like I'd been looking forward to it for 13 years, to being back in the studio, and it was just the highlight of my year last year to do that again.
Yeah. So you played you wrote the music with Michael, right?
Yes.
I think you are quite not in the same place, you know.
Right, that's right. I've when we were working on the album, I was living here in Michigan, and Michael was living in New York. So we did a lot of the writing, over the internet. We each would work individually on things and send them to each other. Though we did have 3 or 4 times when I would visit him for a week or so, and we'd work together in person. So it was a mix of working together in the same room, and then also working apart. Especially during the pandemic, we've had to stay separate. So, and then I also, Michael and I did write the sort of like the main structures of the songs and the instruments, but then I've got to give important credit to Nick, our drummer, and to Tony, the singer. Tony wrote all of the vocals himself. Michael and I would finish the songs pretty much, and then give them to Nick and Tony to add drums and vocals. And they each of those guys just brought so much to the end product. I mean, the album was completely transformed by their involvement, and I think both of them just knew exactly what we were going for. But with Tony, this was our first album working with him, and he really helped us sort of find a new voice for the band, literally and figuratively a new voice. And I think that the approach that he brought really adds to the sort of dreamlike quality that you mentioned.
Can we say that it's the style your music? I know that artists they don't like to be to be in a box, but
Yeah.
would you say it's quite electro stuff? And what about the electronic scene?
Yeah, so you're right about artists. I'm like, it's not like I think we're too good for label or genres or labels, but I just don't know what to call it. I mean, to me, it's like all under the umbrella of rock music. It's got guitars and drums and synthesizers, but it's got like rock energy. So if people ask me to put it in one word, I say I'm in a rock band, and if they want more words, I say it's a rock band, with a lot of synthesizers, and it's heavy and dark and moody, But as far as the electro scene, I don't. So I'm interested in. I mean, both of us, especially Michael, but myself too, we love electronic music, and in so many forms of it, so many genres of electronic music. But I feel pretty disconnected from any scenes right now, to be honest, just because when the only person I've ever really made music with is Michael, and we've lived in different places for so long, and so I currently am not part of any sort of like a local music scene or anything like that, and it's we just love all kinds of music, all kinds of genres, and participating in all kinds of scenes, you could say. So I don't really have any broad thoughts on the electronic music scene, other than to say that there's there's a lot of great stuff happening out there.
Have you heard about the French electro, like Kavinsky?
Yes, I know. I've heard some Kavinsky songs, and
Or
who else? Can you name some others?
Carpenter Brut.
Carpenter Brut. Yes, I've heard recently. I heard Carpenter Brut for the first time.
But it's more aggressive. It's more and they play like first in the States of Ministry.
We love Ministry. Unsurprisingly, love that band. And of course, I mean, you hear that. I'm about 15 years removed now from saying this, but Daft Punk and Justice, and of course all those, you know, the mid 2000s and early 2000s the French
Yeah.
scene there. You know, I'm still sad that Daft Punk broke up. I loved their last album so much. And Air, of course, like when I was in the 90s, Air was one of the first electronic related bands that I ever knew. And they had a big imprint on me when I was a teenager, and I still love them. But, you know, this is it. Like when I think of French electronic music, I'm thinking of stuff from 15 years ago. Because just to be honest, I'm just not as connected to new music as I used to be. I mean, I'd love, not to say that there's not wonderful stuff out there. It's just that I'm not following it as closely as I used to be. So, but putting out this album is making me pay more attention to the music press again. And so I'm able to learn about things like Carpenter Brut that I didn't know about until a couple months ago.
So you're back in business.
Yeah, back coming out of hibernation. It's like we've been in a cultural cave for 10 years, and we're emerging to learn about what's happening now. Yeah. So in a way, I feel like with the album we made, you know, it reflects where we are currently, but I think we probably would have made a pretty similar album 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. I think we sort of already knew where we were going, and it's just taken a long time for us to actually make it happen. Yeah.
What about the topics of the lyrics? It seems that each track is an enigma.
Yeah, I mean, so I got to say that Tony, the vocalist, he wrote all the lyrics for the songs, but Michael and I offered some sort of thematic input. But so, you know, I'd say the lyrics are definitely open for interpretation for each song, but the general theme of, you know, we have the album has a loose sort of lyrical theme, which is sort of about contemplating the end of the eventual end of humanity, and thinking, you know, and reflecting on the fact that while of course there's sadness to that, and and it's frightening to think about the human race expiring. There's also, you know, I guess you could say the album is in part about finding some acceptance with that, and finding, you know, contemplating the end, but in the meantime also appreciating all the beauty that exists in the world, and then finding opportunities for beauty and love while we're all still around. So I'd say the album is sort of a meditation on those themes and the sort of mixed emotions that can come with reflecting on that topic.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's a bittersweet.
Yeah. Yes, I'd say so.
Okay. What about live? You have played in the past with one of my favorite band ever, Dillinger Escape Plan.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Which was great.
Yeah.
Have you heard the split? All right.
Yeah, they split. I know, one of the many things that happened in those 10 years we were gone. Yeah, I'm sad I didn't get to see any of their farewell shows, but maybe they'll come back someday. What do you think?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah,
So,
maybe.
I hope so.
But as for us playing live, the honest answer is we don't have any plans right now, but we're thinking about it. It's something that we would like to make happen someday. So, if we can.
So maybe next year, or this
Possibly.
is a
Yeah, no plan yet, but we're exploring the option, and it's something that we would certainly like to do. And if we ever do play live again, of course we would love to go back to Europe, because we always love playing there very much, and it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've played some of our best shows have been in France, and we would love to return.